The Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I rise just to give the assurance to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that any analysis made by the opposition about the government's performance would not be the final situation. To be the people of Trinidad and Tobago who will determine what kind of government they have in Trinidad and Tobago. I notice that every member takes the opportunity to grandstand on this tragedy. I simply want to say to the people of South Trinidad in particular, where major water courses have overflowed their banks and water always flows from a high level to a low level, and those persons living at the lowest levels in some instances have experienced inconveniences and hardships, and that the government agencies have been prepared to respond and have taken every reasonable step to ensure that a response that is worthy of the development has been, is being, and will be made. And Madam Speaker, I notice every time members of the opposition get up and they're talking about golf. What about golf? Thursday was a public holiday in Tobago. Those of us who went to Tobago, like the member for Caroni East, or whoever it is there, and his partner from Orapooch, they won the golf course too. I don't know. I don't know. In Tobago. I don't know what. Same one. I don't know. Let me tell you all something. I have to make no apologies to any of you for being in Tobago. I have a house in Tobago and I live in Tobago. So I make no apologies to any of you for being in Tobago and for sleeping in my house in Tobago. And for Madam Speaker, the storm took place on Monday night. As Prime Minister, I was in Tobago on Monday night, monitoring every single preparatory action that was taking place. By 5 o'clock on Tuesday morning, the storm warning had been discontinued, and we now came out to see what has happened. That was Tuesday morning at 5 o'clock. By Wednesday after lunch, I was in Orapooch. I don't know if the minister, the member for Superior, was missing me so much. Had I known I was asleep down there, had I known she was missing me so much, I would have gone down there. But I have no house in Superior. But I will say, Madam Speaker, that when I go out to the people of Superior, in Orapooch, or anywhere for that matter, I go representing the best that Trinidad and Tobago has to offer. And on this occasion, every ministry, every agency that had a role to play with respect to the response to the Tropical Storm Bret had been on the job. And I want to take the opportunity, Madam Speaker, notwithstanding all the shouting that you hear from the other side, I want to congratulate those who prepared to respond after the storm, because some of the things that they've mentioned are quite unreasonable. I mean, I know they're good down there, but they're that good? 82-year-old pregnant woman? They're that good? And of course, Madam Speaker, there are many things that you can do only after the water has receded. And the workers at Tiantec, the workers at WASA, the agencies at ODPM, the Defense Force, the Police Service, the Defense Force, Madam Speaker, the one thing that was missing from that whole development was a Prime Minister hopping up and down in a helicopter. That's all that was missing. If they figure a helicopter is what makes it, when Diego Martin had a flood, the then Prime Minister came in a helicopter, make a big to-do in Rich Plain, and flew with a great noise. That was the end of that, except that they paid contractors twice for cleaning Diego Martin. I want to tell the people of this country, while we empathize and sympathize with those who are in difficulty, and we are using all the resources at our command to bring relief to them over time, not the same night of the flood, but over time. The one thing that is not going to happen is that the flood is not going to be used to unlawfully and improperly enrich anybody, as you all have been accustomed to. That is not going to happen. $84 million they're spending Diego Martin for cleanup, paying twice. And there are those who believe that the minute you hear flood, come out and get ready to get rich. We are going to ensure that whatever monies and assistance that comes, as I told my colleague who was chairman of Superior, who was out with me on Wednesday, what little we have available to make available to those who have been affected, ensure that it gets to those persons who qualify for it. And others who are standing by to use the opportunity for political or other kinds of enrichment through pool, it's not going to happen. We are going to ensure.
Prime Minister.
That those who qualify will get it.
Member for Princeton.
Madam Speaker, in true typical style this evening, while we debate such an important issue, we have a Prime Minister who stands in the Parliament with only mama guy and public relations. There has been no immediate measure with respect to what relief. The Prime Minister went to South Trinidad with his hand swinging, not a cricks, not a tin of sardine to deliver to the people. He
Member. Order. Member for Princeton, you may continue. Please continue your volume.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in 24 hours, the Prime Minister assured the people of South Trinidad, and I know that they have a disdain for people in South Trinidad because they believe all those are UNC people. But Madam Speaker, the people of South Trinidad will not forgive them.
Is this a point of order, Prime Minister?
To ask you, Madam Speaker, if you will spare us under 48.6.
And 44.
Madam Speaker, the people of South Trinidad.
This session is suspended. This session is suspended. We shall return at 7:10.